it's even though the results aren't nearly what we want, it is trending upward right now.
How would you evaluate the way Dedrick's played the first 5 games? It's easy to look at it from the outside, but we don't really know what. So how would you evaluate it?
I think he's been solid. I think obviously there's plays out there in the field he wishes he could have back, but at the same time, he's been a really solid guy, really consistent. He practices well. We just got to do a better job, and I got to do a better job of coaching him to finish off some plays a little bit better, make more than anything.
How did Jacob Whitemaster do? He came in this weekend.
He made a mistake or two, and but Jake puts the effort in. He puts the work in, and he's a guy that takes a lot of pride in how he works. So he's going to clean up the mistakes that were made, and make sure they don't happen again.
When you have the nicks, like you were saying, in a week like this, do some of the really young guys get a little more work in practice, or do you just sort of?
Well, yeah, they do. Even the Joe Johnsons, Chris Cassidy's, I'm trying to at least get them somewhat prepared in case. So. But yeah, it is. It's when you have some injuries, you got to be able to manage and get through practice and not slow other people down too. So, but I thought today and yesterday we did a good job of managing that, and we got one more day of in our practice week, a real work day to get through, and then hopefully Thursday, Friday, which is much more of a mental day for us, we can really get rested up and healed up.
You probably talked about this last week, but with Will Honus, what's going to be the key for him? Well, he's sidelined, but also learning,
Well, I think with Will, what I kind of encourage him to do is just be around us. I think rehab can be lonely, and I think the best thing for him, the best thing for us too, is to have him around, being engaged as much as possible. I know. When you first get the surgery, it's hard to be up there a lot, just mobility-wise. But as soon as he starts feeling better, I really want him to be around us as much as he can be.
Some of us could look at it and be like, well, he's got 2 years of eligibility now, so ahead of him, so is that positive? But I'm sure it's tougher for him to see that, or does he see that?
Well, no. If there's anything good about an injury like that, it's the fact that it happened in Game 4. But at the same time, he was crushed by it. He loves football. He was really getting better every single week too, and was going to play more and more. So, but he'll be back and better than ever. Well, it's still a work in process, but it's going to be required now. Inside linebacker especially is a pretty precise position, so you really do got to be on top of everything to play both spots. It's not as simple as just, well, I go over here, I go over here. There's a lot of different keys, a lot of different fits. But I think the guys are doing a good job of putting stuff out.
I feel like both Colin and Jacob are 2 guys that can do what you're asking them to do.
Yeah, I do, and I think they don't got a choice either. They're going to have to do that. So, but yeah, it is more difficult. But both those guys are absolutely capable of doing that.
How do you like what you've seen from Dedrick Young so far this season?
Dedrick's been very consistent. I think obviously there's a few players he'd like to have had back, and I think with him and with myself, we got to do a better job of probably finishing a few plays. But overall consistency with him, man, he comes to work every single day, has a great attitude, and has done a lot of really good things for us this year.
Is he a guy that kind of, because of his, I guess, seniorness, does he help that room?
Yeah, he's a little bit of a comfort. What's the word you're looking for? He's got a sense of comfort around him because he has played a lot of football, knows what he's doing. Not the most vocal guy, but definitely knows about football, and like I said, very consistent.
How is that? Is that game like against Michigan, against Wisconsin, those power teams? Can that be kind of a shock to the system for your guys when they don't see it every day?
I think there's something to that, Sip, where you have to get used to playing against those type of formations. When you a lot of times people think that when everything's all condensed down, it's not as precise of a game, but it actually becomes more precise of a game.
Why is that?
Well, you got a lot of people that are switching like that. Gaps change really fast. Typically against spread teams, where your gaps are. It's a little bit easier to fit things up. Okay. Now you got more space where if you miss a play in space, it looks worse. Mm-hmm. Whereas tight formations, you miss a play, usually you can clean that up after 7-8 yards for the most part. But it's a precise game when it gets tightened down like that, and especially when you're not used to seeing it a whole lot. Just a fullback, and that changes the gap every single play. So, it is something that we got to get a lot better at.
That line, what kind of impression did that Wisconsin line make on you?
Very good offensive line, really good. And what I was most impressed with by them was their athleticism, because it's pretty obvious how big they were, but they could really move. They ran a stretch scheme that was as good as anybody's I've seen in college football as far as working laterally, climbing up to linebackers. They did a nice job of it. So, very good offensive line.
last week Mo called the Wisconsin game a front seven game. Chin said the game plan for Northwestern is like night and day with Wisconsin. How do things change for your group?
Well, obviously, I think the biggest thing is just, formationally, we're not playing with as many, you're not seeing fullbacks, you're not seeing a bunch of really tight sets, you're seeing them use all 53 yards of the field, width-wise. As far as the actual run game, the plays are a little bit similar, but you're doing it in space now as opposed to doing it in a tight box. So, it definitely is a change. Then, shotgun run fits are always a little bit different as well. But this is where we're, a lot more used to when we play against our offense all the time as well.